Oh, what's that? It's the hype train. Hop on board, kids. Destination. There's so much to see in this trailer, I'm not even gonna waste your time with an intro. DokeV is a new upcoming creature collecting game that exploded recently with this one gameplay trailer, and there's so many reasons to love it. It's fresh, it's fun, it's vibrant, it oozes character. It's basically a brand new take on something we've all been familiar with for a while, and I think we kinda needed that. First of all, let me get the clickbait topic from the title out of the way. Why does Pokemon even need to be quote unquote dethroned? They still make new games and many people enjoy them, right? It's been too damn long. There's a limit to how many times people can play the same game over and over again. We see this with so many long-running titles where they become a victim of their own brand. This is not unique to any genre or specific studio, it's just naturally how things go. Let's pick some totally random franchises that have been around for at least, say, 15 years and are still in active development. Assassin's Creed, Need for Speed, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, The Sims, Pokemon, Super Mario maybe? I don't know, I'm not the man-child target demographic, I don't really keep up. What do all these games have in common? They're all cool games that we all love dearly, and all games that already hit their peak years ago and are now slowly and safely riding their own wave with periodic updates or new releases. I don't mean their peak in player numbers, people still clearly enjoy these, and I also don't mean to say that they shouldn't or that they're bad or unenjoyable games, but give me something fresh, man. I've had my fun with those games. Now, how about a new, unique take on the genres that they established? If you're after this, you're probably better off looking to a new studio to come up with their own thing. Yes, we occasionally get something like Breath of the Wild, which is a game that broke its own mold and expanded on its foundations. I also think the Pokemon Go year was pretty fun. Dragonite! Dragonite! There's also long-running titles like Grand Theft Auto or The Elder Scrolls that give themselves enough time between releases to reinvent the formula. So this is by no means a rule, and I'm not even hating on any of these franchises because I genuinely love them. I just think it's a fact that most of the time these studios just give us incremental improvements of the same thing with each new release, which to me gets boring after a while. Pokemon can change its perspective from 2D to 3D, which by the way took like 25 years, or add a new wacky Pokemon by slapping some googly eyes on a pair of testicles, but will the world of Pokemon ever look this good? Well, as long as they design their games for the Switch's hardware that was 10 years outdated when it released, I doubt it. Will you ever be able to do donuts in the middle of an intersection with this stupid tiny ass car? No, that doesn't fit into the world of Pokemon. The game is constrained by the boundaries it's been setting for itself for decades. The new Breath of the Wild-like take on the series looks not very promising, honestly. Unless the trailer is purposely showing the worst parts of the game, the world looks kinda empty and dull. It's again a combination of two things that everyone loves, but those two things have been loved. I'm speaking for myself here, but I don't need any more barren nature with minimalistic cel-shaded graphics, gliding around and climbing big gray blocks while my stamina circle depletes. We've had our fun with that. We squeezed Genshin in, okay, I'll allow it, but let's leave it for now until someone can add something substantial to it. And I have a feeling that Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna be just another iteration of the same thing because it worked once and it's gonna be milked for the next decade, which is why I'm super happy when something new comes along and doesn't even break that mold. It takes it, stomps on it, steamrolls over it, and adds a stupid tiny ass car to it. DokeV is a fresh take on a familiar beloved formula, and one that's not really been expanded on much. It's being made by a South Korean studio, Pearl Abyss, and of course a game that looks like this is coming from Korea. Have you seen K-pop music videos? Koreans are on top of their game with visuals, and the DokeV trailer is basically a music video for a kids K-pop group. I don't know if those even exist, I hope they don't. To be honest, the only part of the trailer that I kinda didn't like was when this girl transformed into this glam star. I don't know, something about children idolizing celebrities and that lifestyle doesn't sit right with me. Pearl Abyss are known for their MMO game Black Desert Online, which is pretty well regarded by MMO players, and DokeV was originally supposed to be an MMO as well. You might be surprised to hear that the video that got all the attention wasn't actually the reveal of the game. There's another trailer from way back in 2019 when it was announced as an MMO game. If you watch this channel, you know I don't really give a shit about MMOs, so I probably wouldn't be paying any attention to it, but thankfully the game switched directions during development, and they've now made it clear that it is not an MMO, but an open world adventure game with co-op elements, much like Pearl Abyss's other upcoming game, Crimson Desert. I was going to start this segment saying one thing that immediately stood out to me, but there's like 20 things that immediately stood out to me. Movement. Movement in games is something I could spend minutes talking about, which is what I'm gonna do now. There's obviously no one right way to do movement. Different games require and allow for different ways of getting around, but why do I rarely ever feel satisfied with how my character is moving? It rarely bothers me. In fact, I don't even think about it in most cases, meaning movement in most games is adequate. But why is it not a standout feature in more titles? To me, there's few things I can imagine that are more satisfying than smoothly transitioning between fast slides, vaults, jumps, and glides without breaking any momentum. Doom is pretty much the only example of S-tier movement I can name. Should every game be like this? No, but more of them should. Even movement-based games get movement wrong somehow. One move slows down your momentum from the previous, or you see a little pauses between jumps, rolls, dashes, etc., and that split-second stutter is enough to break the fluidity. I don't know, maybe this is a weirdly specific complaint that only I have, but I have it and I'm gonna say it. Movement in DokeV looks like something that's actually had time and thought put into it. There's so many ways of moving around shown in just this one trailer that watching it for the first time I was absolutely blown away. I had so many opinions brewing in my head that my brain was overheating trying to figure out how to turn them into content. I actually need to use a list for this. You can ride the little BMX bike. There's a rocket boosted skateboard and rocket boosted rollerblades. There's this longboard on which you can do those cool dancey type tricks you see on Asian TikTok, and it also magically goes uphill on its own. Of course, you can ride a cute tiny llama. You can jump in the air and use this umbrella to glide around, during which you can give yourself an upwards boost. You can do this teleport type dash on the ground, but also in the air, where you're flying using presumably the rocket boosted rollerblades, or maybe some other specialized foot gear. There's a regular dodge roll, and probably my favorite movement type we've seen, which is this beam of light you use to swing in the air. Of course, these can all work with each other, so you can teleport dash into the air and then use the swing thing, which looks good. You can ride a goddamn miniature jet ski, and of course, who could forget the stupid tiny ass car. Seeing how much freedom the game gives you in movement is cool and all, but it's only as cool as the world you're moving around. One of the main attractions of the trailer is this insanely beautiful, small and cozy looking coastal town. The game is set on an island, and according to the lead producer Sung-Young Kim, what we've seen in the trailer is less than 10% of the total map. He also says that the map is large enough to keep you entertained just by walking around and exploring the open world. Disclaimer, his words, not mine. I didn't say it's gonna be fun to explore the world. He did. I am an objective journalist, and I never overhype every aspect of a game into oblivion only for it to fall short on all of it. I do at least believe in his estimate of the map size, so if the other 90% looks anything like the parts we've seen in the trailer, this is going to be a joy to explore. You don't get this kind of setting very often in games. It's usually either an urban city or a medieval village in the middle of fuck all, so I'm hella excited to see this combination of modern city life mixed with some of that rural nature. If there is one thing I'm willing to bet my flawless reputation on, it is that there's going to be a shit ton of cosmetics in DokeV. And how could there not be? I feel like I don't even need to explain why. Just look at the trailer. Pretty much every scene has the characters wearing different drip. Ways of obtaining this stuff, monetization, microtransactions, we know nothing about, but I'm sure there's gonna be lots of customization. With clothing for sure, but maybe other things too. Maybe you can even spray paint some rad flames onto your jet ski, dude. So it may just be my boomer ass getting old, but it's always so exciting to me when I see that a game lets you do random miscellaneous everyday activities like fishing, fishing, flying a kite, or surfing. Sometimes you just need a break from all the monster hunting, you know? Something to do to chill out, which would be especially cool if you were hanging out with friends in co-op. One interesting thing Kim mentioned is that they're definitely looking into the Metaverse possibilities of DokeV. If you don't know, Metaverse refers to a kind of virtual world where everyone can gather and participate in all sorts of activities, like the concerts happening in Fortnite. There's currently kind of a Metaverse race going on where we don't yet have a definitive platform for this, and we're yet to see a game launch with all the hyped Metaverse features like direct peer-to-peer item trading using NFTs. Here's a quote from Sungyeong Kim regarding this. Using the most advanced features of our proprietary engine, DokeV can integrate realistic experiences into its virtual world. Cool. Finally, let's talk about the combat a little. Unlike with some familiar titles, you're not actually enslaving these poor creatures and forcing them to fight for your entertainment while you watch from the sidelines. You befriend these DokeBs, which is a word for legendary creatures from Korean mythology and folklore, and fight alongside them. Of course, there's this stupidly oversized toy hammer you can use as a weapon, as well as a bouncy ball and different gun type weapons you can shoot. We can see a few of the DokeB abilities as well. There's this magician cat that I guess allows you to shoot confetti from a magician's hat. Then there's this panda with boxing gloves who throws you into the air to shoot a bazooka, a clock that presumably gives you access to a bow and arrow, and a anteater? The fuck is this? Anyways, you kick what looks like a bomb into an enemy, which I guess is this creature's weapon. And there's also this pineapple type thing. We see all of them summoned at once in some instances, so they fight the enemies while you do the same. I want to say thanks a lot for all the nice comments recently. There's been a lot of new people here over the last week from that voxel video. I read all the comments and I'm collecting all of your names and keeping credit scores for each of you.